And welcome to the Howard Eskin Show. The Eagles, thankfully, have concluded the preseason exhibition games. NFL does not like to call those games exhibition. In a lot of cases, it is a poor exhibition of football. If anybody watched that entire game last night, as we do this show live on Saturday morning, I'd love to hear from you. And if you watch the entire thing, because I want to know how you did it, what you did. Did you take no dose or whatever it is to try to keep you awake? Did you drink coffee? What the hell did you do? It was brutal. I mean, there's high school games that are played better than that game. Now, again, you're not playing the starters. And the Eagles, this game was supposed to be, it was supposed to be to find out who will make the team, who may start. That's nonsense. That's bullshit. All right. It's just what's not nonsense is our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors, because Jeff Stillwell is such a good guy. But it's one thing to be a good guy, and it's another thing to be a really sharp guy. So if you have any intentions of looking down the line at your future and helping you with your future financially, Jeff Stillwell can do it. Regular guy, knows his, you know what, really does. And if you're interested, give him a call at 732 343 0813. All right. I see that there's people that want to possibly comment on the game. And I think they've joined the show, and I see some people in the chat room. Good morning. So JC says the Phillies can't beat the Nationals. Why? Because they don't put the ball in play, and all they do is want to hit home runs. That's part of the problem with a lot of teams. But we'll get to that. Let's deal with the Eagles first. Did you see anybody that really solidified in any way, shape, or form, or gave you an inkling that they can be a starter at one of the corner spots? Did you see anybody that played last night to say, well, they can be one of your linebacker core? It just, no. Hey, Jeremiah Trotter is a solid, fundamental player, but his size and his speed sometimes are a problem. He's a smart guy. Obviously, he's learned from his dad, but he's a terrific player to have on a team. But I don't picture him as a starter. I just don't. We're getting a lot of comments this morning, but there's people that are going to want to join the show. But let me mention a few things before King's Court. Yes, it is. Phillies can't beat the Nationals. It is amazing that the Phillies have trouble with the Nationals. They are not a good team. Uh, people love it when they curse the king. Yeah, well, radio, you can't do a lot of that stuff. Radio is I'll say a dying breed. The radio and television industry are a dying breed. As somebody else, Rob the Savage, as he likes to name himself on social media, Duran was due for a blown save, but what was JT thinking on that throw? Well, I think that runner would have scored anyway because the runner had third base stolen. Apparently, you can steal on Duran. The thing that is amazing when you look back and say, "Oh, Duran, you always think he's automatic." He's lost 5 games this year. Now, obviously, that was with Minnesota. Well, he lost 4 of them with Minnesota. Now, the 5th one was in the game against the Nationals. But we'll get to the Phillies. I do want to. The cuts may start dwindling out today, so we'll talk about those. But what do we learn? What did we learn, or what did you learn from the Eagles' final preseason game? The other thing I don't like about the Eagles, And Nick Sirianni, um, I guess as an organization, they have decided that they're not going to play the starters, and they really didn't play the starters the entire preseason. Last night, Kansas City, and I would say Andy Reid is not only a great coach, he's the best coach in the NFL. He played his starters last night in their final preseason game. Patrick Mahomes played. Now they didn't win the game, but he didn't play the whole game. What's wrong with that? Are you scared that somebody's going to get hurt? You can get, as we've seen, players have gotten hurt in practice. So I don't get it. If you're scared, get a dog. But you just got. I think you got to get a feel for the game. Officially, the cut down day is Tuesday. You know, people were excited that Perry Nickerson had an interception. The Eagles had so many turnovers and they only scored 19 points. I think they had what, 3, 4, 5 turnovers. They had 3 interceptions, and I don't know if they got a fumble. They may have gotten a fumble too. Yeah, they did get a fumble on the quarterback. Uh, so they got at least fumble, maybe 2, and they only scored 19 points. It was that was brutal. I love one of the questions of Nick Sirianni. I mean, these questions are so asinine sometimes at these post game news conferences. Are you comfortable because Tanner McKee apparently has a finger injury? I can't believe it's serious. Are you comfortable with Kyle McCord as your backup? If you get to that point, you're in trouble anyway. Stop. We're going to take a look at the schedule today. I've got 5 losses when I look at the schedule, and we'll get to that. I got 5 losses on the schedule. Now, they're going to lose a game they're not supposed to lose, and they're going to win a game they're not supposed to win. So it all kind of evens out. But cut down day officially Tuesday afternoon. You'll see some cuts dwindling out. Teams in the division to watch. You know, there are teams in the division to watch. Certainly Washington. I think Dallas is a last place team. I think the Cowboys are a last place team in the division. That would be, oh my gosh, can you imagine that? All hell would break loose for the Cowboys fans. It's just, hey, Kevin, I appreciate the comment. Radio is not the same without me. Well, it's not. I mean, it just what do you tune in for? There's no appointment radio anymore. Uh, it just don't watch or listen to the game. Well, and the Phillies piss you off, Ted. Well, why would they piss you off? They were down 3-0. They came back, but they only score with home runs. But again, I'll get to that. Marc Lawrence also will join us today. And we'll take a look. College football technically starts today. Not a great schedule, but we'll have Mark look at it and look ahead at what he's looking for in pro football as well. It's an interesting over-under number for the Eagles. I think it's 11.5. The fact that it's only 11.5, I might take the under because I think they might win 11 games. But I'll ask Mark if he has any thoughts on that. And I do. I want to talk. There was a couple of things that happened in the Eagles television broadcast last night. That it just like, was it that bad with some of the conversation that you had to bring up? But today we will announce the winner of the Chickies and Pete's. It was something that Steve Shrippa said the other night, and you submitted your answer to my website to win a Chickies and Pete's gift certificate. We'll get to that. We'll also get to what we're going to give away today. Flyers fans, it's your day. If you're a Flyers fan, you'll be happy with the giveaway today. All right. So we'll deal with that too. But I also want to talk about some of our other fine partners on the Howard Eskin Show, and I took a a visit out to Audi Westchester yesterday, and they've got a lot. Oh my gosh, they got a lot of new vehicles in. They really have a great inventory of new vehicles, new cars, and pre-owned. So if you want to have some fun, go out there. But right now, they got a great deal going on the electric vehicles. Lease a new 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron for $499 a month, or an Audi a Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. You'll need $5,295 down for the Q6 and $4,156 down for the Q4, plus taxes and registration fees. Stop by Audi Westchester for more details and to have some fun. Grab a cup of coffee, grab some snacks, have some fun looking at a great inventory of new and pre-owned vehicles. The new cars, every time I go there, I see more new cars being delivered to Audi Westchester. All new facility, 1421 Wilmington Pike. Special offers not going to last long, and the tax credits on electric cars aren't going to last long either. So take advantage of it. 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron for $499 a month, or a Q4 for $399 a month. Check it out, AudiWestchester.com. Also, I actually had a busy week. I stopped out at Piazza Property Pros. I was talking to them. They build out pools, and they can do it usually into December, depending on the weather. You can't do it with snow, obviously, but they can build pools. So if you made the mistake of procrastinating about building an in-ground pool, don't do it any longer. At least get it ready for next year, so you have a pool. And Piazza Property Pros can do that. 25 years of experience, specializing in a lot of great things. They don't subcontract, which is a good thing. Top-notch craftsmanship, great customer service, all the work done by their people, as I said, whether it's hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, excavation, pool maintenance. If you already have a pool, you can trust Piazza Property Pros. Exceptional results within your budget. Just call for a free consultation, and you can do that by calling 610-566-2608. Call them today to schedule a free consultation. That's 610-566-2608, or check them out, piazzaoutdoor.com. All right. I see, besides the people in the chat room, now when you click on, let me just remind you that make sure the red line's not through. If you don't want to be on camera, I'm fine with that. So you can have the red line through the camera, but make sure it's not through the microphone when you click in to be on the show. And what? Oh, okay. We have audio but no video. I saw a few people click on, and they I just is George ready to roll? Okay. All right, George. You're on the program. What's up?
You ready to rock and roll here?
Yeah, center up your camera there, or your phone, or whatever it is.
All right. Here we go. Howard, I watched maybe 5 minutes of that game last night. I went to an excellent high school football game. I drove back home. I said, you know what? This preseason football is garbage. Whatever happened to, and I give Andy Reid credit last night too, the so-called dress rehearsal games where you would play the starters for a half. I'm not going to like the first couple of weeks of NFL football. It's going to be like watching preseason with the starters.
Well, it's the quality. It can't be there because I don't want to hear how hard you work in practice, and we get all our work in practice. It's not the same as tackling to the ground. The quarterback knows he can't get touched. You got to feel every once in a while. You've got to feel the game a little bit, and that's what doesn't happen anymore. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
I liked 11 or 12. I've been saying that when you did this a month ago. I told you 11 or 12 wins, and thinking they're going to be, the first 4 weeks, first 5 weeks is going to be kind of like a 3-2 type of start.
All right. So how did you watch 5 minutes?
I went to here. No, the volume was off. I stopped. I was home. I took a ride home because I live in Jersey. Went to a high school game in Bucks County, and then I went to see a friend's band. So they were on a break. So I went up and got a drink at the bar, and the game was on. So I saw it was the last 5 minutes of the game. So I sat there and watched that crap for a little bit while they were on break.
I mean, I didn't see anybody. Now, I watched most of the game because I had to. I mean, you had to tie me down to the chair. I think I was handcuffed to the chair because so I couldn't move. So I couldn't use my hands to turn the TV to another channel or turn it off. But none of the starters at the corner position, I think, were determined last night. I think they knew who they were going to cut. Like Perry Nickerson has been on so many teams. He had an interception. Okay, that's great. Against a backup team. See, your players are playing against other second, third, and fourth string players. So I don't know what you can determine.
You're watching future cab drivers and bouncers in the game. That's what you're watching.
That's not
guys
fair.
will be future cab drivers and bouncers.
All right, how many wins do you think the Eagles are going to get this year?
Howard, I've been sticking with you with 11 and 12. I see I'm still the high is 12. That schedule I keep saying is brutal, and I told you earlier that I think they're going to lose in Tampa. I mean, 2-2 they're going to be again.
I think they could lose to Kansas City. They got to break the Kansas City plays in San Paulo the first week, but again, that's a Friday game, so they still have a couple extra days because that travel is the NFL is disgusting and disgraceful that they send teams, especially teams they're playing the Chargers, so they're coming from the West Coast. That's like an 11 or 12-hour flight. And for Kansas City, it's like a 9-hour flight. It's just easily a 9-hour flight.
I am in New York. I'm in New York territory, which is, oh my God, a headache. And Giant fans right now are like, oh, we're going to be good. We're going to be good. We're going to be good. I keep telling them Vegas isn't stupid. The over-under for the Giants is like 5.5. And their schedule, it's got a cupcake schedule. I'm trying to find a schedule where these Giant fans, where they're going to win 6 games. They'll be lucky to be favored.
I don't even know what the over-under is on Dallas. I got to check that. Dallas can't be more than about, what, 8? 8, maybe.
I see the Dallas one. I agree with you with Dallas. They got problems down there. Micah Parsons, man, he's probably not going to play against the Eagles. We know that. But, man, that's like unbelievable.
Well, how about his agent? Apparently, Jerry Jones said they had a deal, and then the agent said, stick it up your ass.
Stick it up your rear end.
Yeah, right. You know what? It's just ridiculous.
You've seen these before.
The agent's ego. Like, you know what? If I was Micah Parsons, I'd fire the agent. So, all right. Well, and your Phillies last night, without home runs, they have trouble scoring runs.
Durant is not Lidge. He's going to blow some games, and you're right. Either it's all or nothing with them. They hit home runs, and Howard, the thing that drives me crazy, and I am old school with this, is analytics. It just drives me absolutely nuts. You always talk about the feel of the game, and that's what it is, the feel of the game. I mean, you can use analytics, but my God, I hate seeing these notebooks on the dugout. You know what I'm saying? What about the feel of the game?
Wait a minute. How about the 3x5 cards in the players' pockets?
Howard, oh my God, that too, please.
It's unbelievable. Hey, all right, hey, I appreciate you joining the show. Thanks.
Hey,
again.
Thanks for the glasses too, by the way, brother.
Okay, I'm glad you're right on it. All right,
I'll be styling and profiling, okay? Not like you with the fur coat, though. You know what I
mean? Okay, George. Thanks. Take care. Brother. See you later. All right. Do we have somebody else on the line, Joe? All right. Yeah, and Marc Lawrence is going to join us in a few minutes. Let's go to Chris. Let's see what Chris has to say. Hey, Chris, what's happening?
Hey, happy Saturday morning. Beautiful day out.
Yeah, well, we hope so.
Yeah, beautiful day.
So, the weekend before the holiday weekend.
Yeah.
So it's your last chance for the people down the shore. I still don't think you're allowed in the water down on the South Jersey shore, but whatever. At least just take some time off.
Yeah, it's still a little rough down there, but I'm actually at work right now, so I'm trying to sneak this in. So yeah, it's officially football season now. So
Yes, it is. Um, uh, but did you watch the game last night?
yeah, I can't take no more preseason. I'm in my wits end with it. We pretty much know who's in and who's out. My big thing is the one thing I've been talking about the last couple of weeks is Ringo. What do you think's going to happen with him? Because he's had a very bad
Well,
preseason. And
he's
this
going to
is
be on the team. I would be shocked if he's not on the team. You can't just get rid of him because of a bad camp. Uh,
right. So, but
so
he's not going to start. I mean, I think that it's disappointing because it's his
no,
third
he's not.
year.
Well, he's absolutely not going to start.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
no, no. Uh,
yeah.
uh,
That's been a big debate though. I heard that. Now, here's something I heard yesterday. Pascal was cut from the Giants. What do you think about the Eagles trying to bring him back in?
sometimes the second time back is not good. They got to straighten out who they have. If he was cut from the Giants, think about that. We just heard and we realized the Giants are a bad team, right?
Oh
They're a
yeah.
bad team.
Well, they was Saquon too, so they're not too smart when it comes to personnel decisions. you know.
Well, yeah, but it's just I'm worried about the team they have now. They will pick up some players, and they will obviously when they get rid of players, and there might be some cuts that leak out, but they don't have to do anything until Tuesday.
Right.
So, but there'll be other teams. Now they may do something. They may do something before Tuesday, and they probably will if they see another player out there that they want. So they're going to have to make some cuts in that regard too.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, they're stacked on rotten. They have a lot of wide receivers. I mean,
all right, how many wins are the Eagles going to have?
I'm going to go with. It's a tough schedule. I'm going to go with 12 at the worst.
12 at the worst.
At the worst.
Okay, we'll see.
I mean, it's a tough schedule. We have no back-to-back home games. We
Yep.
got, definitely week one we're winning. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I'm not just saying that because I'm a homer and I hate the Cowboys, but let's be real here.
Yeah, well, 11. I see 5 losses on the schedule, but again, it's really hard to look at it. But I see some tough games, and they're all on the road. Now they're going to lose a game at home, and I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
which one it's going to be. And
well,
they'll win a game that they're not supposed to win on the road.
it
All
might be
right.
a trap game. You got to see how it lines up.
Yeah, I didn't look at the game they played before, but hey, Chris, I appreciate
Hey,
joining
hey,
the
no
program.
problem. Always a pleasure. And go Birds. And Dallas sucks.
Okay, and you're right, and get back to work.
All right, you bet.
See you later. All right. One other thing, there's a couple other things I want to mention, then I'm going to bring Marc Lawrence on. All right. The post-game news conference, it was a joke with Nick Sirianni. And I really like Nick Sirianni as a coach. I really do. And I think he's a very good coach, but he's been muzzled so badly, so much that he says nothing in a post-game news conference. He says less than nothing, less than nothing. So last night, it was basically 5 minutes and nobody had any more questions. But what I want to do, 5 minutes of a post-game news conference. I'm going to typically show you, and I want you to tell me whether he answered the question. Listen to this from Nick Sirianni last night in the post-game news conference.
Look at this past month. What have you learned about the team?
I just feel like we have come together as a football team. Just you always are looking to grow as a team. So when you go through the ups and downs of a season, guys have each other's backs, and so I see our veterans and our leaders on this football team leading, getting closer as a team. They had some good team bonding yesterday. Why we came up a little bit earlier yesterday to go through some of that where they can go out to eat with each other. So just see us growing together as a football team, and then you're just looking for your habits to continue to be on the rise. And I know they're practicing hard. There's no there's really no shortcut to it. Like how you're going to tackle well, how you're going to ball security well, how you know how you're going to take the football away well. It's all starts in practice. You know, we did something this last week that you guys saw where we were really focusing on, you know, the catch. And that's not only for the receivers. Obviously, we're doing it for the defensive backs. I think that showed up today. We got our hands on, you know, Perry got his hand on the one ball that was very similar to the one he had last week and finished on it. And you like to see that where the practice translates to the game. And so I feel like we've been growing our habits, you know, and I feel like we're growing together as a football team.
You mentioned Perry.
Did he answer the question? Talking about practice. I mean, what did you learn? Oh yeah, we've grown as a team. And they came up early to New York so they could have dinner together and bond. They have dinner together anyway. It's time to get out. Well, you came up early because you probably wanted to beat the traffic too. That's another thing. Traveling on Friday is probably not the best idea, the best thing to do. But it's just you're kidding me. But my problem is, and again, I think he's a terrific coach. He does a great job. However, he answers nothing in a post-game news conference. I see one of the comments here expects I'm going to be on the other sports station at some point. I'll just say this: you never know, but whatever. I'm glad you're a supporter. All right, so we're going to talk about the Phillies, but first of all, before we get to Marc Lawrence, let me just tell you the winner of our Chickies and Pete's gift certificate, and he won with the question that I posed. Steve Shrippa talked about what James Gandolfini gave the staff. He gave the staff a bonus, and the question was, how much did he give the 16 staff members that he called in after he signed a contract with the Sopranos? $33,333 is what he gave them. Steve didn't have any idea why that number, but David Califoot, you answered it correctly, and you were chosen at random because I'm sure other people did. 16 members of the cast came in, and he gave them all that bonus. David, congratulations on winning the Chickies and Pete's. After we're done the show today, I'll have another question, and this is what you could win. And Joe, if you have that, this is kind of think back to when the Flyers were really good. And you'll win the hat trick of autographs: Ron Hextall, Tim Kerr, and Rick Tocchet, 3 8x10 pictures. I'll come up with a question. If you answered correctly by midnight on Tuesday, August 26th, and I'll announce it on the show on Wednesday at 7:30 to see if you have won. We're on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram. Subscribe to YouTube, and you'll be notified as soon as the show comes on. Winners will be randomly chosen from all the correct entries. All right, now let's welcome, and he'll be on every week during the football season. A little later than I wanted to get to him, but Marc Lawrence will join us. Marc, how are you this morning?
Yeah, Howard, I'm doing just great. I just happened to catch a little bit of the intro when you were talking about Nick Sirianni saying basically nothing in his post-game interview, and it just hit me. Who does that remind you of? Every politician in America, when asked a question, they do everything but answer the question. So he's a little bit no different than every politician in America, but a great coach nonetheless.
Yeah, but he's not a politician.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he's not a politician. And the problem that I have is, I mean, the simplest questions, we'll see about that. He doesn't answer. And again, I think he's a very good coach. And I think he's got I know he's got a great personality. And it's awful. Those news conferences after games are awful because he answers nothing. what did you learn? Well, we bond. We came up early to New York so we could have dinner together and bond together. Well, like what? What was? Is that an answer? He tries to fill it with words, and by filling with the words, he says less than nothing. But I have a problem with that. I mean, what happened to the days? Think about that, Mark. What happened to the days when coaches kind of went off on when the Jim Morris Sr. and the John Gruden and these guys and Herm Edwards? You can't do that anymore, but at least you can do something. Who played well, right? So at least, hey, this guy really surprised me a little bit in camp. And there's at least one or two of those players. Just give me whatever.
Well, honest to the point, Howard, he could just basically say what he's feeling. Just, ask me a decent question. Ask me a good question. Don't ask me a question like that.
I know. It's just, well, that's the other problem. The questions are asinine in a lot of cases at these post-game news conferences. I know they miss me.
The grill master.
Yeah. Well, you got to ask a question whether it pisses people off or not.
Yes.
And if he doesn't want to answer it, at least you got an answer because of the way he didn't answer the question. All right. So college football technically starts this weekend. It's not a picture card. Iowa State and Kansas State should be a good game. But if you had to look at these games today, do you really like any of the, what was it, the 4 or 5 games?
4 games, right?
Yeah, that are played today, that being Saturday.
No, I do not, Howard. If they were in amongst a regular Saturday college football card, they wouldn't even be under consideration. But because they're week 0 and everybody's jonesing, everybody's going to try and make a case for practically every game. And I think that's a big mistake. Of the 4 games, the game that I liked the most was Hawaii when they opened up as the underdog. But now they've gone to the favorite. So you can't chase that. You can't chase 5 points off an opening number. You've got the intrigue of Dublin, Ireland in the Iowa State, Kansas State matchup. And the unique thing about that is that in season opening games in college football, whenever you pair a pair of conference teams, you almost always want to make the case for the underdog if he has a revenge chip on his shoulder. And that's exactly what Kansas State has in the game. In fact, the last 2 times they played Iowa State, they've lost the game, but out-yarded or outgained Iowa State in both contests. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if Kansas State comes up the winner in that game.
Yeah, but okay. So why don't you like Kansas State though? It's double revenge, right?
It is.
Double revenge. They are at home. They are a good team. Why don't you really like? That would be your side, but why don't you like Kansas State?
Because the way I was raised in this industry, in my DNA, I have a phobia for favorites.
Yeah, well, I do. Yeah, right. I do know that.
So, if Kansas State's the underdog in this football game, I'm digging deeper and trying to make that case. But over in Dublin, Ireland, laying points, I'm not quite so sure about that. I'd lean to Kansas State, but give me points with the Kansas State, and I would be backing them for sure.
Oh, that's right. They're the home team, but they're not at home.
That's right.
Dublin. Okay.
Right.
All right. So when you look at the opening of college football, is it an advantage with a team that's played like there's some of these teams that will play next week against teams that haven't played? Is there an advantage the way you look at it when you handicap a game for a team playing their second game against a team that hasn't played?
Well, you would think so. Normally, you'd think that that's the advantage. At least they have a game under their belt, but that's a big misconception. And I've run that through my database time and time again. And what happens is the team that's opening up playing their first game against a team that does have that extra game does have the advantage, at least to the point spread. Now, I don't know if it's because the odds maker is compensating for that. The other team that's playing their first game is coming out a little bit more eager. And you don't know what happened in that first game to the team that did play. So no, do not bet that game if the team has a game advantage under their belt. It not only is it practically useless, it's a loser. So you'd avoid that at almost all costs.
All right. So big favorites. Do teams want to come out and impress the first week? Let's say a team is a 25 There's teams that are 25, 35. Penn State, because they're playing a high school team, are 44 next week. Penn State plays, I think, 3 high school teams this year. James Franklin wants to build up that win total against the bad teams. It's a joke. I mean, it's an embarrassment. But whatever the case, I always get on. I don't dislike Penn State. I think he's a fraud as a coach. But do you like the big favorites or not when it comes to early in the season?
Well, I don't like the big favorites here, obviously, because
You don't like favorites,
I'm
yeah.
not a chalk guy at all. Exactly. But
Right.
I've learned in the past that trying to take the points, take the 30 or 40 points with these underdogs in these first games is it's almost fruitless. The big favorites do tend to want to roll out early on, especially if they're top ranked football teams, because they want to get their destiny set, the path created in the first week of the football season. So I will not play any of these 30 or larger point dogs in the first game of the season, largely because number one, it's a mismatch, and number two, you do know that favorite does have a little bit more to play for in the football game. So I will avoid football games like that.
You know what? I noticed, noticed, and I don't know how far ahead you've looked. There's a whole bunch. I don't know why they're playing games on Thursday, obviously to make money. But is any of those games, since we won't talk to you until next Saturday, on Thursday or Friday, caught your eye?
Well, I'm putting together the Playbook Football newsletter for our first opening week of the college football season, which is going to be 44 college football games, by the way.
Mhm.
Unbelievable. And I didn't really yet get into tearing any of those apart, Howard. And I'm looking at the schedule here right now. There's nothing that jumped off the page for me on either Thursday or Friday. I'm a little bit of a conservative when it comes to getting out of the gate and starting slowly because I believe in exposure, and you don't want to expose a whole lot early on until you
Right.
know about these teams. So on Thursday and Friday's card, there's no matchup that really jumps out to me at this point.
All right, I'm going to ask you. I think Colorado. Now people like to. The public just likes Deion Sanders, but they've lost a lot of players, and they're an underdog at home. What's that? Thursday? It's Friday. Underdog at home to Georgia Tech. I know you don't like favorites, and especially on the road, but the numbers kind of jumping out at me. Say Colorado, you'd think the public would jump on Colorado a little bit more and drive down the number. Now there's still time. I kind of like Georgia Tech in that game on Friday.
Well, like you say, the number's telling you something in the football game. You'd think Colorado, a 10-win team, opening up a home underdog to a Georgia Tech football team might be the wrong number in the game, but it's there for a reason. And I've learned one thing along my many, many years in the business is you don't try and out handicap the odds maker because there's nobody that is a better handicapper than the odds maker. He knows what he's doing when he puts that number up there. So you have to at least acknowledge it and say, is there a case for Colorado that I can make here? Well, the case is really difficult to make because they've really been stripped of a lot of talent last year from Shadur Sanders on out. So it's a case here in point where I would end looking at Georgia Tech are not playing the game, but because they're the road favorite, I will avoid the game.
All right. So, is there? You haven't looked at it yet. Why do you think Georgia Tech is the favorite? Obviously, they're a better team than Colorado, especially with the public. A lot of times, just bets a number, and they don't look at the quality of the teams.
Well, Georgia Tech is a really what you would call a popular Vegas wise guy team this year. There's usually about a handful of teams that the guys in Vegas really like because they feel that they're going to be a vastly improved team. The public will tend not to like that team because of their name and reputation. Georgia Tech has gone bowling each of the last 2 years, but they're still Georgia Tech. So it's a wise guy type team here. And I try to avoid those wise guy teams because they're catching a lot of weight. A lot of those players that bet the big money in Vegas, they're unloading on teams like Georgia Tech, and that's part of the reason that they're the favorite in this game.
Explain to the people what you mean by a wise guy team. It's Are they the sharp betters? Or are they the wise guys? Usually are the sharp betters, right?
They are the sharp betters. They're the guys that are, they're playing 10, 20, 30, 50, what we call large in the game, 10, 20, 30, 50,000 a game. So they're going to be respected, those players are, because if for all intents and purposes, they know what they're doing,
Mhm.
unless obviously they're being fronted by somebody who doesn't. But you have to respect things like that. And the odds makers will indeed look at a wise guy and see what it is that he bet, and maybe not even look to balance his books, but more respect to the wise guy because of who it is that he bet. And in this case, the wise guys are betting Georgia Tech.
Okay. All right. So let's take a look at the Eagles game. We'll take a look at it more next week. Is that too big a number? It's a touchdown. I don't think Dallas is going to be that good a team this year. Do you think that's too big a number to lay the 7 points? Even though, I'll let you answer this. You do like the Super Bowl winner the first week of the season, correct?
Yeah, the Super Bowl winner generally performs well. He sort of comes out and tells people, "Hey guys, what we did is for real last year," and they sort of lay it on the line the first game. The issue I have in this football game is it's a huge division football game, and you have a Dallas Cowboy football team that was really rocking and reeling from last football season here. I cannot lay a touchdown in a division game in the first game of the football season here. Uh, the Eagles met with, and here's a point that I think everybody out there needs to realize. The primary reason the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl last year and were the best team in the National Football League is this: they led the National Football League in rush attempts per game. And
Yes.
just Howard, take a look at these. These are the top 5 teams last year in the National Football League in rush attempts per game. Philadelphia number 1, Baltimore number 2, Washington number 3, Detroit number 4, and Green Bay number 5. And what did they all do? They all went on to the playoffs, and Philadelphia eventually wins the Super Bowl. That's the key to winning National Football League games, is not only just running yards, rushing those yards, it's controlling the clock and doing it in the process as well. And Philadelphia, if Sirianni knows what he's doing, and I'm sure he knows what he's doing, he'll continue to want to lead this league in rush attempts per game.
I'll give you another point.
Yes.
The Eagles don't want Jalen Hurts to throw the ball 30 times a game
No.
because you're more susceptible for turnovers. Turnovers are the ultimate killer. The Eagles had 0 in the playoffs, which is hard to believe. Cleveland, which is not a bad team, I think was one of the top teams, at least in the AFC, in turnovers.
The worst in the league, Howard.
They were the worst in the league. Okay.
Yes.
And that's not a good thing. So
No.
I think the number, from what I understand, that the Eagles like to see Jalen Hurts is between 21 and 23 passes. If you run the football the way they do, he's not going to have to throw it more times, less chance for turnovers. And I think that's one of the ways they look at it.
The primary common denominator in those top 3 teams in the league that led the league in rushing attempts per game is the quarterbacks. They're all running quarterbacks, and they meet with success in doing that. That's the primary reason they do just that. And you mentioned the Cleveland Browns, who were the worst team in the league last year in turnovers, and almost always, and you can mark this down, almost always does the team that finished last in the NFL in turnovers improve their record almost dramatically the next football season. It's the law of averages, returning the regression factor here, coming back to the norm. The Browns will not be as bad this year as they were last year, primarily because of the turnovers and the injuries. But the turnovers is the indicator here that the Browns will likely improve this year.
Yeah, they're trying to cut down. Joe Flacco is going to be the starting quarterback, and I kind of figured that was going to be the case because
Right.
nobody else was going to step forward. But he does throw interceptions.
Yes.
They're working on trying to cut that down, and if he cuts that down, they're going to. He's got it's unbelievable. 42 years old, got a great arm. He's a smart guy. He really connects with the team very well, and quarterbacks need to do that. We'll see what happens. And you see that picture? There's Joe Flacco and Jalen Hurts. Look how much bigger Joe Flacco is than Jalen Hurts when they had to joint practice here.
Howard, when the Browns have had this quarterback battle, 5 quarterbacks in camp, okay, and when they line these quarterbacks up in a row next to each other, shoulder to shoulder to shoulder, Dylan Gabriel, who they listed 6 feet, is probably more like 5'10", and
Right.
he stands next to Joe Flacco. It's like a clown outfit. I mean, my goodness, he looks like he's at least 6 inches taller than him, and you wonder why Dylan Gabriel's even in the picture.
Well, a lot of coaches like to have quarterbacks under center because play action is better that way.
Yes.
And Jalen is not really comfortable under center most of the time. And obviously because he has some trouble seeing over the line of scrimmage. But they'll figure all that out. And as long as you can run the ball with Saquon Barkley, it probably doesn't matter. Or is there any other thing to look for in the pros early in the season?
You know, assessment out of the preseason means a lot. People don't think so because they're fake games. They didn't mean a whole lot. But what you're looking for are teams that really completely dropped an egg in the preseason to find out why. Was it an injury situation? Was the coach playing non-starters to be able to fill out his roster? You have to sift through the rosters to find out what happened in the preseason. When you can do that, you can find a team that ran the table in the preseason. In this case, going 3-0, both straight up and against the spread. That's a pretty good indicator that the team is clicking or hitting on a lot of cylinders. So I look for that. Teams that come out of the preseason 3-0 straight up and against the spread early on in the opening month of September. Conversely, if they drop the egg and go 0-3 straight up and against the spread, I want to avoid them like the plague early out of the gate.
Okay, so the Giants were 3-0, but did they cover the number each week?
Yes.
Okay, so the Giants would be somebody to look at in the first week of the season.
And here's the thing about the Giants that I'm going to say this, that they look ugly and rightfully so, but they're the only team in the National Football League last year, Howard, that improved their yards offensively and defensively, but went backwards straight up and against the spread. And that's almost always a true indicator of improvement to come for teams like that. So if the Giants improve this year and the Eagles regress a little bit because it's going to be difficult to play to last year's level, what does that do to this division? It likely means that there's a non-repeat winner for the 25 years in a row that a team hasn't won the
It's
division.
20, I don't know, 20 something.
Yeah, I think it's 25. So the Eagles have really got to go up against it here between having won the Super Bowl and that pattern of the division winner here. If the Giants improve any at all, and I believe Dallas is going to improve. I know it's an anti-Dallas city in Philadelphia.
Yep.
But the Cowboys are going to improve. It's, again, a matter of regression and getting
we'll
to the
see. I wonder, the Eagles play the Giants at New York or at the Meadowlands in New Jersey on October 9th. And it's a short week. It's a short week for the Eagles. They play at the Giants. I just see they play Denver at home on Sunday. And then they play the Giants on a short week on a Thursday night in New York. That would be a target. That would be a target for me to look at the Giants in that game. Would you agree?
What date is that game, Howard?
October 9th, they play at the Giants after
Okay.
playing October 5th against Denver here in Philadelphia, but it's still a short week.
It's going to be a tough game coming off of Denver.
Yep.
The short week going into the Giants here. And the Eagles right now, if they played tomorrow instead of waiting that long to see what the odds shake out to be, the Eagles would be probably a 4 or 5 point favorite in the football game. So, we'll see what happens. But it is indeed, like you pointed out, going to be a tough spot for the Eagles.
All right, Mark. Mark will join us every week, every Saturday. Mark, if people want your newsletter or want to check your website, it's
Playbooksports.com, correct.
Okay, and then they can get all the information there, whether they want your newsletter, your services, whatever it is. And the number is 800-321-7777, correct?
Correct. And what they want to do, Howard, when they go over there is they want to put this book in their hands for this football season here. We've got Jalen Hurts on the cover of the Philadelphia Eagles. It's our Football Preview Guide magazine, where a lot of the stuff that I talk about comes right out of that magazine.
Okay, terrific. All right, Mark, and we'll talk to you next week. Thanks.
Howard, have a great week. Enjoy the games, and we'll talk real football next week.
Okay. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, there's not a lot with the college football things. There's a few things I want to talk about, and I have a question for you. It's kind of interesting, the question I have for you this week to try to win the Flyers, the hat trick of autographs from the Flyers. But before we do that, I do want to, as I always do, want to give a shout out to our presenting sponsor, Stillwell Financial Advisors, Jeff Stillwell, the man. We got to set ourselves up for the future. You got to do that. Don't procrastinate with that. And Jeff is a guy that knows what he's doing and can help you set up whatever wealth you may have to set you up for the future. There's Jeff's number. I'll read it out for you. 732-343-0813, 732-343-0813. 888-866-9813. All right. Something before I talk about our other partners here. On the broadcast last night, the television broadcast. Oh my gosh. By the way, Keith said, it's great, Howard, that you no longer work for the Eagles. Now you can truly speak your mind without, what does he say? Without risk of being cut from the team. Let me just tell you, I did get my balls busted by there was a person at the Eagles. I couldn't say anything that wasn't even, it was ridiculous. And it was, and I'm not the only person that has that done to me. But yeah, I would speak my mind. And I think I would have said this about Nick, and I would tell him face to face, Nick, you got to say something. Come on, you got to say something. But it is, I didn't work for the Eagles. I worked for that radio station that unfairly, well, actually they're broke. So the fact that they're drowning in real revenue issues. When you get rid of over 400 people in your company throughout the country, that is an issue. That is an issue for them. All right, let me talk about now. Here are fine partners I have. Audi Westchester. You can lease a new 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron for $499 a month, or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. You'll need $5,295 down for the Q6 and $4,156 down for the Q4 plus taxes and registration fees. Stop by Audi Westchester. Normally I pop in there on Saturdays, but I popped in there yesterday, had fun, talked to a bunch of people there, talked to some of the customers, grabbed a coffee, grabbed some snacks, and I saw all the new inventory they have there. But the electric cars have a great deal going on right now. Audi Westchester, 1421 Wilmington Pike. Special offer won't last long. And the tax credit on electric cars isn't going to last long either. Lease a new 2025 Audi Q6 e-tron for $499 a month, or an Audi Q4 e-tron for $399 a month. Matter of fact, I saw a former player, I won't out his name, from St. Joe's basketball team from years ago, who just bought a really nice electric car from Audi Westchester. One of the Eagles stopped in there the other day and bought a really nice car. So you never know who you're going to see there. Audi Westchester. Check them out at AudiWestchester.com. All right, Piazza Property Pros. They're doing their thing, and they just keep on just building more pools because people like what they do. They really do a great job in building an in-ground pool. 25 years of experience can help you do that. They don't subcontract. Piazza Property Pros can take care of your property as well, whether it's excavation, hardscaping, fencing, landscaping, pool maintenance. You can trust Piazza Property Pros to deliver exceptional results. They'll try to work within your budget. Here's a number to call: 610-566-2608. Schedule a free consultation. Free consultation. That's 610-566-2608. Check them out. Piazza Property Pros. They know their stuff. PiazzaOutdoor.com. All right. The broadcast last night, the television broadcast. That's actually, I was watching the game, trying to get ready to do the show this morning. And I heard some of the drivel. And I like those guys. I like Scott Graham and I like Ross Tucker. But sometimes, because the game is so brutal, it was so brutal. Nick, you got to play your starters once in a while. That's my opinion. But again, I'm not the coach. You can't worry about injury, because guys, as you've seen, get hurt in practice. If you're scared, get a dog. I mean, there's teams that play their starters. Kansas City played their starters. Cleveland played their starters the last game. He doesn't even play his starters. It's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. But you got to do something. But anyway, they talk about where the state line is in New Jersey, where you become a Jets or Giants fan, or you're an Eagles fan at line in New Jersey. Are you kidding me? You're kidding me, right? You're talking about that on a broadcast. Who gives a flying you know what? Really? You're talking about where the Giants fans or the Jets fans begin in New Jersey and where the Eagles fans stop. Like, who gives a damn? really, who cares? Please. The game's bad enough. You don't have to add to it with that drivel. All right. And again, I like those guys, but come on, that's enough. Enough of that. And then the other thing, and then they missed a simple, and I saw it on TV. There was a punt that one of the Eagles, and I forget which player it was, kind of was standing there and let it bounce into the end zone, and he was right in front of the ball. And they said, well, the comment was, well, he probably lost his place on the field. No, if you're watching the game, you see he stepped out of bounds. You've got to have, there's some rule where either somebody else has to touch it or you have to establish yourself in bounds before you can touch the football. Otherwise, it's a penalty and you can't down it. And he was trying to tell the other player, he's got to do it. I saw it. And finally, they woke up when the official put out a penalty. He touched it in the end zone, so I didn't realize that he was the first guy that touched it, and maybe that was the problem. But why the penalty? But then they oh, you can't step out of bounds. Come on, man. You're better. You guys are better than that. But you're worried about where the Giants and Jets fans start and Eagles fans end in New Jersey. Enough of that. Enough. All right. The Phillies. Again, I have the same issue with the Phillies that I've had before. Last night, they scored 4 runs. 3 of them were on home runs. Put the damn ball in play. Put it in play. Will you put it in play? Matter of fact, but before I get to that, I got to get to this comment. Some thought from JC Sports, some thought Penn State should be number 1. James Franklin would screw that up. He can't be top-ranked teams. He can't be a top-ranked team, is I guess what you wanted to say. James Franklin, they will never win a national championship with James Franklin as the head coach. All right, got that out of the way. All right, the Phillies. All right, Duran gets beat. He blows a save. It's going to happen. He's not going to save every game. He's not Brad Lidge, and that's not going to happen. And I can't believe that was his 5th loss of the season. So obviously, with Minnesota, he's given up. And, some players probably sit on certain pitches. And they apparently did that with Duran last night. And then JT Realmuto makes a horrible throw to third base for a guy stealing. And it looks like when runners get on base, it seems like they feel they can steal on Durant. Hey, the Phillies are a good team, but they're not a World Series team. They're just not a World Series team, not the way their lineup is constructed. Bryce Harper had all of 1 hit again last night. He's hitting. He may not get to 270 this year. And I know people don't in baseball, the baseball analytics people don't worry about batting average. You can't just hit home runs. You can't just hit home runs. And that's part of the problem with the Phillies. But Washington, it's amazing. Washington, I know they split the series in the 4-game series last week in Washington, but Washington coming out and winning after they blow a 3-0 lead and come back and win. That's not a good sign. All right. I want to touch on, so I made my point. I made my point about the broadcast. Teams in the division to watch. Apparently the Giants, I can't believe the Giants are going to be a team to watch. Washington's going to be good. Yeah, it's amazing how teams just don't win that division in back-to-back years. Somebody's got to break that. Cuts are going to officially have to be done by Tuesday afternoon, but there'll be some players and some names leak out, and the Eagles are probably looking at some players that are going to be cut. All right, I think the Eagles will win 11 games this year. And here, let me just run down the losses that I think the Eagles are going to have. Now, they're going to win some games they're not supposed to win, and they're going to lose some games they're not supposed to lose. Here are the games I think the Eagles will lose. The second game against Kansas City, I think they will lose that game, even though Kansas City plays in Brazil the game before, but it's on a Friday. I think they'll lose at Tampa. Todd Bowles always knows what to do against Jalen Hurts. All right, I think they'll lose that game. And then, even though it's after, well, I pointed up with Marc Lawrence, they may lose the Giants game. It's on a short week, and they're playing at the Giants. They probably, I would think they might split with the Giants. It's a short week, and I think they might lose at the Giants. And that's after they play Denver on October. They play the Giants on October 9th. Then I think, even though it's after a bye week, Green Bay's got to win one of those games. It's a tough place to play. Lose that. I think they'll lose one of the games to Dallas, and they'll lose at Dallas in November. And then the Chargers, I think they're going to lose. I think they're going to lose even though they have a lot of time between those two games because they play on a Friday before they play at the Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to win that game, and I think they're going to lose at Buffalo. So that's 5 or 6 games that I think they're going to lose. So I think 11 wins is about right for the Eagles. Before we go, and I'm going to give you the question. Do we have somebody, Joe, do we have somebody on the line that wants to jump on the show? We'll get them on quickly. Oh, okay. They left. Okay. I saw people wanted to jump in. Sorry, with Mark, and I'll try to get to you earlier in the show when we have Mark on each week, because Saturday is the day that I know you want to join the show. All right. So here is the question to win the hat trick of autographs when the Flyers were good. The autographs being Ron Hextall, Tim Kerr, and Rick Tocchet. And the question, there they are, those are the actual autograph pictures. And if you answer the question by going to my website, howardeskin.com, by midnight Tuesday, August 26th, on the show on Wednesday at 7:30, either on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, I urge you to subscribe to YouTube, because when we go live, YouTube will always notify the people that subscribe on YouTube, and you can see it on the others as well. The winner will be randomly chosen from all the correct entries. Here's the question. Mark had a phrase for a college football. I'm going to make it really tough. I'm not even going to tell you who the college football team was. It was one of the games, one of the teams playing in the first couple of weeks, had a name for a college football team to the bettors. Well, I'll tell you the team. I'll make it easier. He had a name for Georgia Tech to the bettors. If you answer that question correctly and you're chosen at random, you will win those 3 Flyers autographs. All right. I appreciate everybody joining the show on this Saturday. We'll be back on Wednesday at 7:30. The cuts will be coming up. I haven't seen any cuts yet, but it's still early. But Tuesday will be the cuts officially. And the roster is going to change. Even after Tuesday, the roster is going to change a little bit. Players are going to go to practice squads. There's going to be a lot of things that happen. Let me see if there's any other comments that we want to mention. Mark, is usually a good idea to take. Can answer that. It better hedge against your own. These people talking about. I don't know what they're talking about when they just write a comment. I don't miss Buddy Ryan. Well, you miss Buddy Ryan because Nick Sirianni. Come on, Nick, just say something. Just say something. I know you're being muzzled, but just say something. You got a great personality. You're a really bright guy, and you're a hell of a coach. Just say something. That was like 5 minutes last night because nobody had any questions. And then the question of what did you learn from your team in the past month? He didn't even answer. He didn't come close to answering the question. Oh, they came up to New York early to bond. Oh, that was part of the answer to the question. Please. And they haven't bonded yet. They hang out. They're there, but they're together 6 days a week, 7 days a week, because even on the day off, players come. It's just ridiculous. But it'll be interesting. The cuts, well, there'll be some surprises, but I don't know that game decided any of the starters whatsoever last night. and it probably didn't help in choosing a player. The reality is that last game meant nothing. So why not play the damn starters like a lot of other teams do? But whatever. We'll see how much it affects them early in the season. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks to Joe Gangemi for being the technical and production part of this fine program. And we'll see you on Wednesday. And thanks to Marc Lawrence. Thanks for joining us on the Howard Eskin Show.